So guys, welcome to Inside the Theatre. Today we're talking about why Manchester United can't seem to score any goals and why Rasmus Højlund is the main culprit of that. So before we get into the video guys, if you can like and subscribe, it'd be a massive thanks and really helpful for the channel, especially at this very early stage, so I can bring more content to you guys. Manchester United have struggled all season to score goals, whether it's Rasmus Højlund up top, Joshua Zirkzee, even Bruno Fernandes up until late has struggled to score goals. Why can't we seem to create any chances and why can't we seem to score goals? Amongst the fans on everywhere, I've seen constantly, there's kind of two opinions, especially about Rasmus Højlund. There's the opinion that he's not good enough, he doesn't score properly, doesn't make the right runs. He's the core issue to why we're not creating chances. I think that's been amplified when we saw Chido Obi the other night. In his little brief performance, he created so many chances, he made so many runs. Yeah, he didn't score, but he made so many runs, he looked dangerous in the box. And that's something we haven't seen from Rasmus Højlund literally all season. So that brought to the attention that maybe the issue does lie with Rasmus Højlund himself. Maybe he can't get himself in the right places, make the right runs, and position himself enough in the box, or even command the box enough to actually be in a position to score goals. Then on the flip side of it, you have the other fans, the fans who look at Rasmus Højlund's stats and they say, well, he's quite a clinical striker. If you look at how many shots he's actually had, and his conversion rate is not actually that bad. I spoke about it in a video actually previously, where I looked at Rasmus Højlund's stats, I think it was last year in the Europa League. They're not actually that bad, and Champions League as well. They're not actually that bad. He does seem to be able to score goals when given the opportunity. So then is it potentially the creating players? Is it Bruno Fernandes? Is he not managing to find the right pass? Is it the wing backs? Is Diogo Dalot just not supplying the right balls? Well, I actually think it's a mixture of two. So in my opinion, when you look at Manchester United and look at what we're doing wrong, I think there's two really key areas around Rasmus Højlund about why he's not scoring goals specifically. And then there's other players as well, which we will get into later on in the video. First issue, yes, is Rasmus Højlund himself. I think that's the biggest issue as well. I do believe that he isn't making the right runs. He's kind of falling into a Premier League trap. So he's not making the runs in the channels as he was at the beginning. He's not trying to use his speed to get in behind anymore. He's kind of more trying to be a physical player, trying to show everyone who's watching that he can be that physical number 9. And I just don't think that's part of his main strength in the game. How many times have you seen Rasmus Højlund back up into his player, trying to push him off, and he ends up just kind of poking the ball away or the ball bouncing off him? It's just not his attribute, and I understand maybe he's trying to develop that, which is great. In the games for Manchester United, you don't have time to sit there and develop that. You develop it on the training pitch and you do it in the game, and it just not seems like it's actually working. For example, when we've seen Zirkzee, I'm not saying Zirkzee is the answer to our problems, because he's not scoring goals either, but in this department, in that hold-up play, Zirkzee can at least bring the ball down. He has such good ball control and he can lay it off to another player. So in that aspect, Zirkzee is a lot better. But then the other issue is Zirkzee isn't that number 9. He said to everyone himself, everyone's aware of it, Amrim's aware of it, he's not a number 9, he's a 9.5, he's a 10. He's that kind of player, that false 9. So when he does hold the ball, which he does well, and he links up players, he's really good at that. However, we're again onto that second issue, which is happening with Rasmus right now. And Chido Obi exposed that the other day. When it's time to actually get forward, attack the box, make a run, and get in behind, he just doesn't seem to make the right one. Rasmus Højlund sticks close to a defender, looks to try peel off towards the end, but he's just not commanding the ball. He doesn't seem to really want the ball. He'll kind of run, he'll look towards the ball, as if he's going to make the right run. He won't make it, or he won't demand it, and the ball just never comes. That then leaves that question, is it the players behind? Are they just not finding him, or is he not getting there? Now, the other night, even though we lost obviously in the FA Cup, one thing that I really liked about Chido Obi, and he's only 17 years old, one thing that stood out for me when I was watching the game is that every time someone was on the ball, whether it was Diogo Dalot or Bruno Fernandes or Zirkzee coming forward with the ball, Chido was always pointing forward. He was always on the last man. He was pointing at space. He was demanding that ball gets played to him. And quite often the time, it ended up coming to him. And then, look, maybe he's young and he's raw and it's his debut and there's emotions and all that kind of stuff, so he's not going to be at his peak. So we can understand that. He's getting in those chances. He's having shots. He's backing in defenders at the right times. He knows when to be physical. Calvin Bassey absolutely pocketed Rasmus Højlund all game. Cheeto Mine came on, and we've all seen it. He just pushes Bassey out the way, causes him all sorts of problems, gets a shot off. Why can't we be seeing that more from Rasmus Højlund? Again, whether it's a tactical thing, where we're trying to encourage Rasmus to be more physical, because he has got the body structure for it. He's tall, he's a tall player, he can back into players, but he just doesn't seem to be able to do it technically and at a good enough level. I think if you look at the basics and you look at what Ruben Amorim wants from a striker, we've seen Gyökeres and how Ruben Amorim likes to deploy Gyökeres was kind of to run the channels, run down the wings and create chances and do things differently, use that pace to get behind and then be physical when you need to be. I think that's what Rasmus needs to focus on, not trying to be a real target man, a real strong structure up top who can ping, who can play the ball between. We've seen so many times long balls as well from Onana straight to him. He just can't control it. He can't get it off. He gets so caught up in the press, and he gets so caught onto his defender that he just doesn't seem to be able to do much. And then when it comes to him running behind, he's on the floor because he's been dragged down. He's backing into players. It's not working. It's just not working. So that's the main issue, I think, with Rasmus Højlund. I think he himself needs to work to his own strengths, which is his pacing behind. Now, that pre-season game against Arsenal, he just ran in behind and just kept running. He can do that. I've seen glimpses of it in games. He can do that. He just doesn't seem to want to focus on that. Again, I wouldn't have thought it'd be tactical because it's quite obvious that's his real strong attribute, but he needs to go back to the basics. He needs to just start working with what works with him and not trying to mould himself into this Premier League strong striker that he thinks he can be. I think at this point in time, he needs to focus on what he can do best, which is running in behind, running the channels. And this is a potential suggestion, but I'm sure Ruben Amorim doesn't really pay attention to my 100 views. But remember when, I'm going to speak while I'm probably going to get crucified for this. Remember when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, especially in the big games, in those Champions League games, we saw Romelu Lukaku was playing kind of out wide. He was kind of running in behind a bit more. Maybe that's something we might need to look at doing with Rasmus Højlund. In some games, I'm not saying he should be a wing back because I just don't think that'd work. In some games, maybe just play him a little bit wider. Play him out wide and allow the false nine of Xerxes maybe to move up into that position when there's a chance. And let him kind of run the channels a bit more, just to see how that works. But obviously, my main suggestion would be play Cheeto Obi whenever we can. I think he's got the attributes. I think he's the right mindset, and I really see massive potential in that player. And obviously, it's just exciting. As a fan, you want excitement. I think he just brings that. Of course, he does. A young player coming off the bench or a young player coming onto the scene who has such a good record in the youth team. We want to see it happen. Obviously, he can't play in a lot of the European games, as I'm sure you're all aware, because he wasn't registered. He doesn't count as a homegrown talent because he was only signed last year. So that's frustrating. But Rasmus has been good in Europe, so hopefully maybe that will spark something in him. But yeah, I think we have got some issues up top that need solving quickly. I did want to talk about one other big reason I think we're not scoring goals. I think it's just the quality of the wide players as well. Now we've lost Amad Diallo. The goals from the right hand side have really dried up, of course. But Garnacho, guys, I like Garnacho. He's so exciting. When I was at Old Trafford watching a game, there's just something about Garnacho. It just gets you off your feet, gets you just kind of engaged with the game. You know, so it could be so quiet, the ball gets played to him, and he just tries something. And I like that from Garnacho. I really do. But I don't know if you guys seen it kind of going around Twitter and X and all that kind of stuff. But his last 20 odd shots, something, has been so bad. He wastes so many chances. I'll try and find the statistics if I can. I'll put up here about just the sheer amount of chances that Garnacho does have. And they're not all clear-cut chances. They're not all chances that you think, oh, here's a goal, that should be a goal. But they're chances where he should be hitting the target, or he should be playing it into the box. We should be doing something better. So many times. And the one that sticks out in my head the most is that game against Tottenham. In behind, you're one-on-one. It's such a simple finish. That is probably one of those ones where you think you should be scoring. You know, you just roll it wide along the floor, in the corner. Even just hit it at goal. Play just something. Just do something that causes some sort of problem. But he hits it so high over the roof. He just leans over it. It's just not good. It's not good at all. And Garnacho has it in him to score goals, but I just don't think he's that clinical wide player. Yet he often or not will be the one taking that shot. So from him, I think he does need to look up more. He needs to be more creative instead of just shooting every time, because I would forgive him if he was super clinical and scoring lots of goals, but he's not really, is he? So I think that's one of the big issues as well from the wide players. I say wide players on the right, like I said, without Amad, pretty much Mazraoui, maybe Dalot sometimes. It's not an option. option, is it really? Let's face it, they're not clinical, they're not attacking players. Mazzarri I quite like, he's more offensive. Like, in terms of his crossing into the box is pretty good, but I think we have some issues that we do need to solve. Maybe some of those are going to be solved in the transfer window. Maybe some of them will be solved from the training pitch, but there's bigger issues in Manchester United other than just scoring goals. Of course, we know where we are in the league, where we are. Well, we're out of the FA Cup now, so the Europa League is kind of where it all kind of goes down to. But there are bigger issues, especially with the ownership, and I'm sure everyone is aware of that. And that does need to be solved first and foremost. But on the pitch, just from my perspective, on the pitch, inside the theatre, on the pitch, there's so much room for improvement, and a lot of it is down to the players individually. And I think hopefully Ruben Amorim can see what needs to be changed. I know it's a difficult task because it could be individual players. Maybe you need a striker. I just think there's tweaks that could be made, especially to individual players and the way they approach different situations, that would massively improve their game. All I'm going to finish on, guys, because I'm just rambling now, talking about random things, but all I'm going to finish on is I personally think Rasmus Højlund has massive potential. And that stems from just things I've seen. I'm not just talking about, like, hypothetically, I think he's good at this, he's good at that. No, things we have seen. He is a good clinical finisher. How many goals he scored so far in the Europa League? Something like 5 and 8 or something along those lines. 5 and 9. I don't know exactly. I'll check again. But in Europe, he's not been bad. And there's other factors you can think about. Maybe the teammates around him are more hyped up for the game. Maybe there's more going on. Maybe the quality of opposition is different. Maybe it's different. It's less physical. That plays into Højlund's, what I'm saying earlier on about Højlund needing to be less physical. That just promotes that. But he is a clinical striker, and he does score lots of goals. He has scored goals, guys. He was our top goal scorer last year, wasn't he? Something along those lines. So he can score goals. We can't just say, oh, he can't finish. He's terrible finishing. I think it's actually his way he approaches the situations that need to be fixed. He doesn't make good enough runs. He doesn't demand the ball. He doesn't command the box when he's attacking. So I think there are things that he can change. And I think I wouldn't be selling Rasmus Højlund personally. I would be looking to maybe bring in an experienced striker and have him play under him. Obviously, there is an issue there because we have Højlund, Xerxes now, Chido Obi, and then if we do sign a striker, hypothetically, imagine we get Osman, right? He's going to want to play every game. What do we do then with Højlund? Does he go on loan? And what about Xerxes? Does he go on loan? Does he stay? Then Chido Obi, can't have 4 strikers. You can't have 4 strikers. So you either fully adopt Xerxes into a half 9, 10, and you just play him there, which I'm not completely against. I think he can improve in some aspects, and that wouldn't be a bad role for him. But you need to make a decision. You can't have 4 strikers. And at the same time, you can't really sell certain players. Would it make financially any sense? That we spent 70 odd million on Rasmus. Can we afford to just sell him this summer? I don't think we can. With the financial situation that we're in, we need to be making more profit. We need to be more sustainable. So I don't think we can just keep selling our stakes. So I think we need to stick by some of these players and work out an actual plan to go forward, because we can't sell them if we don't make enough money, but we can't have 4 strikers and we're not really scoring goals. Tough situation, guys. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. It's only a short video, but I think there's so many things going on at Manchester United that I could make 20,000 of these videos, but they would all end up with the same thing, but there's no actual outcome. I'm not in charge of Manchester United. Thank God. I don't even know what to do. I really don't. But I think we all have our theories on what can be changed and what can't be changed. So this is just a debate. I'm just shedding out my opinion on everything. You guys might disagree completely. You might agree. Let me know down below. And this is the whole point. I just want to shed my opinion, and then hopefully going forward we can get some more opinion from everyone else. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining the video. Leave a like and subscribe. Catch you next time. Bye bye.